What's up, everyone? My name is Alan, founder and consultant at For Now Marketing, and welcome to Liquid for Technical Marketers. Today, we're going to talk about the 7 rules of liquid conditionals. Follow these rules, and your life will be easy. Let's get started. Rule number 1, for every if statement, there needs to be a matching end if statement. This is one of the most common syntax mistakes that I see among liquiders out there, including myself, back when I was first learning how to use Liquid. And one helpful tip, one helpful strategy is for whenever you're writing Liquid from scratch, is if you end up writing an if statement, just add the end if statement right away. So that way you start to build the habit that every if statement needs a matching end if statement. And think about it whenever you're using those HTML code editors that automatically closes the tag for you, whether it's a header tag or an anchor tag. It's very convenient, and they make it easier for you to not make that mistake. So think of it as you're doing that kind of manually, automatically in your head. Because without an end if statement, Braze Liquid will think that you never finished your conditional and will think that the rest of your code is part of the Liquid conditional, or oftentimes just not render at all and then break your code. Rule number 2, an if statement is required for every conditional block, but elsif and else are not required. A conditional block only requires an if statement and an end if statement. And an elsif and else statements might be necessary for your use case, but those two are not required for conditionals to work. So if you're just starting out with learning Braze Liquid, practice writing conditional blocks that just have if and end if statements to become more familiar, taking it one step at a time and keeping it simple. Rule number 3, in your conditional statements, you always use double equal sign. So whenever you want to check whether a variable's value matches something, we use double equal signs, not a single equal sign. So here we have a variable called assign holiday equals new year. And the incorrect way to write this condition would be if holiday single equals new year, happy new year, this wouldn't run, this would break. The correct way to write this is if holiday double equals new year, then we say happy new year. So whenever we're comparing liquid variables inside an if statement or a liquid conditional, we use two equal signs. And a single equal sign is only used inside the assign tag. Rule number 4, else statements do not require a conditional statement. Else is your default fallback logic. It captures every other case besides what you listed in your if and else if statements above. That's also why else statements come at the very end of the conditional block, of course, not including the end if. And else statements are simple. Just leave it blank because it doesn't require a conditional statement. So here I have an if statement for if the holiday equals New Year, an else if statement if the holiday equals Thanksgiving. But for all other occasions or all other holiday values, that's where the else statement comes in. We just say a general, have a great day. Rule number 5, when using and or logical operators, fully write out the conditional statement each side. So many times when we're working with numbers, it's easy to write liquid conditionals like this. We have if number is greater than 5 and less than 10. In plain English, the statement reads just fine. We don't see any issues. However, in liquid, both sides of the and logical operator need to have full conditional statements. So right now, liquid is trying to evaluate that number is greater than 5 and separately less than 10. And liquid is asking, well, what is less than 10? Just ignore this left side and only think about what's on the right side of this and logical operator. And liquid is thinking, what is less than 10? I have no idea. So the correct way to write this statement is if number is greater than 5 and number is less than 10. So that way, we make sure that on both sides of the and or logical operators, you have 1, the variable, 2, the comparison operator, and then 3, the comparison value. So which in our case, number is a variable, greater than sign is the comparison operator, and then comparison value is the 5. Rule number 6, don't make the conditions overlap. Or in other words, don't write conditionals where a variable can qualify for multiple conditions. And this one is actually maybe a soft rule because while many times this is an unintentional mistake by the liquid user, this won't actually break your liquid code, even if you have conditionals that overlap. So here's an example. We have number equals 105, assigned number equals 105. And then we have a conditional statement where it says if number is greater than or equal to 10, our message says your number is 2 digits. Else if number is greater than or equal to 100, your number is 3 digits. And in our case, even though our number is equal to 105, Liquid is going to render your number is 2 digits, which is not true. And that is most likely not what the Liquid user had in mind, which leads us to our last rule. Rule number 7, Liquid will read from top to bottom and only the first true statement between each if and endif will render. This rule could have been broken up into two rules because there are two ideas here. First, as with most cases in computer science, Braze Liquid reads from top to bottom. So that means every conditional statement will be evaluated starting from your very first if statement, moving down to the next else if statements, and then ending with your else statement. Second, as Liquid is evaluating your conditional statements from top to bottom, Liquid will only render the first true statement. So as soon as Liquid detects a conditional statement that is true, that statement will be run and no other conditional statements below will be considered. In other words, every conditional block only renders one statement. So that's another simpler way of writing rule number 7. So looking at our previous example, a simple reordering could have fixed our situation. Right now we have if number is greater than or equal to 10, your number is 2 digits. Else if number is greater than or equal to 100, your number is 3 digits. And let's say our number is equal to 105 once again. While this would still render a message successfully, it's not correct. But instead of writing this, what if we just swapped the two branches so that we have if number is greater than or equal to 100, first, your number is 3 digits. So that if our number is equal to 100, the first true statement will render. So Liquid will first check the if statement. Is that true? Correct. It'll say your number is 3 digits, and then it won't even consider any of the logic below. It'll just end the if statement because conditionals will only render the first true statement. So the correct one will get rendered. We keep our order of the logic and the condition in mind, and this is a better way of writing it. And of course, keeping our rule number 6 in mind, the best way to write this conditional would be, whoops, uh, if number is greater than or equal to 100, your number is 3 digits. Else if number is less than 100 and number is greater than or equal to 10. That way there is no overlap between the two branches. By the way, I just had to fix one simple mistake. There was no space between the 10 and the percent symbol. Make sure there is a space, so we fixed that. And that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.